come along. I put a spell on you.
8, 5, 3. Grid is live. Initiate light cycle battle.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
For a safe trip, remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the cabin. Be sure to watch your children, and no smoking, please.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pirates and Princesses. This is Tom. I'm here with Cam.
Hello.
Cam is here. Cam is here. And she's gonna lead this podcast, but we got a lot of Disney news for you today.
Yeah, we do. We're going to talk about the situation in Disneyland, where there was a possible strike, what was going to happen with that. We're going to talk about Disney stock. It's not looking good. Some reasons why that might be. They started the new lightning lanes today.
Yeah, that's a disaster.
The prices are just, you thought it was bad before. We got a funny story about idiocy at the Magic Kingdom. We got
just one.
Oh, well, just this one.
Oh, okay.
We have Inside Out box office. Inside Out 2 is now beat Frozen 2.
Okay.
And then we have some different announcements for scare zones for Halloween Horror Nights. So.
All right, so I think we're gonna talk about the Disney stock. If you guys have been watching the stock, it's been dropping for the last couple of weeks now, and as of the recording of this podcast, it's under $90. Mm-hmm. So that's not good. Now, yesterday it came out that Ike Perlmutter, who was the former boss of Marvel,
yes.
he had a bunch of Disney shares because when Disney bought Marvel, they gave him a ton of shares as a result of that. Well, he sold them all.
Yeah, he had 25.6 million shares. He sold it for about $3 billion over the course of April to mid-July, somewhere in there, averaging about 117 million per share, dollars per share.
Yeah.
And that one, to me, means it was probably earlier on. It was earlier in April. He got rid of most of it before now, because if you're averaging, it would be somewhere in there.
Yeah. Now this is the guy who was working with Nelson Peltz, and Trying Group to try to get Peltz a board seat on Disney. That didn't work. Then Peltz sold his stock. It's so weird because all these Disney defenders were all like, "Oh, it's tail between his legs. He's just selling all because he's having a pouty hissy baby fit." It's like, no, he's selling his Disney stock because he knows that at least in the short term, it's not going to be worth keeping.
He said he'd buy it back again and buy the same number of shares if it got down to $65 to $75. And the way it's going, it hit 70 something last year. It's totally possible. Like the low in the last year was 78, 73.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to paint a picture here, guys. I mean, if Disney's doing this fantastic, Disney stock was over $200 a share when they were riding high, when they had Endgame, and this is what, 2019.
Well, this is not even that. It was during the pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic.
It hit high too, and then it's just been the decline.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like we can tie all of this, and we're going to talk about all these changes that they're making that are gouging consumers and sort of the I guess the long-term future of the Disney parks and the brand and how people are feeling about Disney, but they're also competing with Netflix head-to-head, and that's not good. I was recording on the other channel yesterday an episode talking about Apple, and Apple is basically throwing in the towel on content spending because they're like, this is Apple. Apple's got a lot more free cash than Disney has. In fact, there were rumors about Apple potentially buying Disney, but they're like, we're not going to make content because there's no point because it doesn't drive any revenue for us in streaming. They get, I think, less than 1 day's worth of Netflix traffic in a month on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
And they spent billions of dollars on content.
Now, I do want to make sure I do say that the market seems to be down in general too. So that's playing into it. But as of yesterday, when the other things were still up, it was still hovering around $90, dollars and 60 some cents. So while the market's taking a plunge, that's not the only reason why Disney stock is falling. We have some reasons for that. One, it was the potential for a strike.
Yeah.
Disneyland, the different unions, the coalition, the Disney Workers Rising was representing 4 different unions across the master craftsmen groups and stuff at Disney parks. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to get a new contract. They have been working with Disney for new contracts since April. and it didn't look good. So last week they had voted to authorize a strike if necessary ahead of the Monday and Tuesday negotiations. But they apparently did come to an agreement. Disney would have been worrying very heavily because if it doesn't go through, we have the investor call in August 7th, I believe it is. And then we have D23, the 9th through the 11th.
Yeah.
And D23 is right across the street from Disneyland Park. So, or the resorts. So here's the thing. If the media is there for D23 and there's a strike going on, it would look very, very, very bad.
Yes.
I think people don't have confidence. There's going to be a lot of good announcements either, which is part of the reason. But here's what the statement the union put out. They said they've reached a tentative agreement with Disney. They fought for 4 months to get it. Here's what they got out of it. They said that the 3-year contract contains significant wage increases for all cast members, seniority increases, and additional premiums, as well as retention of premiums.
Okay.
They also addressed issues that will make the attendance policy work better for cast members. So they did get a lot of what they wanted. Their voting meeting for that is on the 29th of July. And if that doesn't go through, then I don't know what to tell you, but I think it'll probably be avoided.
Yeah, I think that, it would be a very bad look for Disney right now with D23. And that's another blow against them, right? Because, if the cast members go on strike, they have to shut the park down, right?
Well, they were going to keep it open, but they said that it would not impact the theme park. And I'm like, yeah, well, you have 14,000 members that would be going on strike. It would totally impact the theme park because we're talking the Disneyland people who had their contract up since June, Disney California Adventure, and the Downtown Disney District people. I think their contracts were coming up either at the end of next month or September. I can't remember which, but that's a lot of people. 14,000 employees going on strike. It would definitely impact operations.
Oh, absolutely. I can't even keep track of everything that's going wrong with Disney at this point. You can kind of see the trajectory since we started this podcast many years ago. It's been about 10 years since we've been doing the podcast. Off and on. We had a couple hiatuses here and there, but we were super excited for Disney and just how much this company has changed in the last decade under Iger's leadership. It's kind of it's staggering that we're here because you don't remember them having this much, bad faith with their employees. They've always had union discussions and whatever, but it seems like Disney is almost at war with its own employees.
Well, the problem with that is too, I've mentioned many times in different podcasts and things, is that the workers that are striking, the workers that are looking for an agreement, they're the ones that interface with the customers. When people love to go to the Disney theme parks, they go to the Disney theme parks because they said about the magic and everything, but your magic comes from the cast members you're interacting with and the people that this agreement would impact. The people that run the rides, people that do the parking, the people that make the candy, the people that do all the things that you yourself as a customer are going to, firsthand interact with.
Right.
A lot of times, the people that make these decisions and the C-suite people, they put these ideas and these rules out, but it's the cast members who have to make the magic and enforce the rules and take all the brunt of the crap from guests. But when you think of the magic of Disney, all your memories that make you happy, a lot of it has to do with cast members. And Disney doesn't want to pay them. Apparently, they are going to pay them now more money, enough so that they warranted a vote for it. But they really need their parks, they're depending on their parks. That's their number one thing because they're losing money at the box office. Now, they did really well with Inside Out 2, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
Right.
And I think Deadpool and Wolverine is going to do well.
Oh,
and I think Moana 2 and a couple other things might do well this year. But we've had years of disappointments. And last year, except for The Little Mermaid, I think made a little bit of money. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 made money. All the other movies they put out, including Indiana Jones, lost money, did not do well. And then we've had this happen time and time again. Their streaming service is still not profitable. And now they're rolling in all their streaming, not just Disney Plus. All the streaming should be profitable by the end of this year, they're saying. It still hasn't hit that yet. And what was the one shining star, the one thing that they bank on is the theme parks.
Yeah.
And you have to treat your cast members well because that's what you're counting on.
even when Disney was at its lowest in the late 70s and early 80s, and I've mentioned this before, like the theme parks kept them afloat. They weren't doing very well with movies. They weren't doing very well with TV until Michael Eisner came along. But the theme parks always did well. Disney World always did well. I mean, at one point, they were basically a theme park company that just happened to make movies. You know, that's kind of, but they always try to do more than I think what's in their wheelhouse. And I think Disney tends to, Icarus itself. And in a lot of cases, you look throughout their history and they tend to overreach, and sometimes they get burnt because they're like, oh, we want to do everything. We want to now their big thing is we want to compete with Netflix and we want to compete with it. And it's like, you can't spin that many plates. You can't do everything well. And I think Disney really needs to go back to like what actually works. Let's make movies and run our theme parks, and even
let's be the best at this instead of mediocre at all of this.
Right. Jack of all trades, master of none. And again, this is an Iger thing. This is Iger buying a whole bunch of IP, and a lot of it they don't know what to do with. Like the Muppets, they don't know what to do with the Muppets. Mm-mm. They have no idea. They
have pins coming out.
They have pins coming out. They trot them out every once in a while, but like they don't really know what to do with the Muppets, and they've got a lot of dormant IP that they're not doing anything with. And we know the state of Marvel and Star Wars, and I would just like to see Disney going back to just being the best Disney they can be. Let's put have the best theme parks on the planet, and they can't say that they have the best theme parks on the planet anymore. I mean, they're losing. Mm-hmm. They're losing to Dollywood, for crying out loud. Dollywood, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how far this company has fallen in such a short period of time.
One of the reasons they're losing is because of their quest to nickel and dime customers to death. So today they started their Lightning Lane. This was Genie Plus before. And basically what Lightning Lane is it's like Genie Plus where you pay for it, but now you get up to 3 attractions that you can book, basically what you did with Fast Pass.
Right.
And you're just paying an upcharge for it. And then you can book it ahead of time too. We have the prices of that one now. It's going to vary. It's going to depend on the day. Of course, they're going to gouge, and I think they can get more money out of it. But since it's the first day of it, the prices are kind of high, and they wanted people would have used the individual lightning lanes to pay even more to get on attractions that you could either stand in line or get a virtual queue for. So
yeah,
and the problem is by implementing these systems, what they're doing is they're making the lines longer, and they're doing it on purpose because they want you to pay the upcharge. So, like with Fast Pass before, let's say they had 30 people that were in the Fast Pass line, they'd let through for every 15 or 10 regular line people. It's worse now. It's like they'll let 60, line people through that paid for every 10 regular standby lines. So it makes the lines longer, trying to force you to upgrade. So this started today with the new name change. It's not new other than the fact that you can do it. You can book early and you can get 3 attractions this time. But the prices for today. Magic Kingdom is charging $29 per guest for up to 3 qualifying attractions, at a time that you can get Fast Pass to Lightning Lane for. Disney's Hollywood Studios, $26 per guest. Epcot, $21 per guest. Animal Kingdom, $18 per guest. If you want a single Lightning Lane for an attraction, Magic Kingdom Tron Light Cycle Run will cost you $20 per guest. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, $12 per guest.
Oh, geez.
Star Wars Rise of Resistance is $25 per guest. And frankly, it's not worth that. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is $17 per guest. That one is worth that. And Animal Kingdom Flight of Passage, $16 per guest.
God, it's insane.
And the base tickets just for today is $139 to $164 depending on the park. So you have that. Then if you want to pay your extra, for the Lightning Lane, you're going to pay an extra additional $18 to $29 per person in your group. It's going to add up fast. I mean, it's going to get really expensive really quick. And this is all for something that you would have been free a couple years ago.
That's what blows my mind. It would have been free. And I mean, again, this is just the value. So you're paying the ridiculous gate charge, right? The fee to get in.
Which is also increased from a few years ago.
Which is also increased. It used to be under $100. And it wasn't that long ago that it was on average, it was under $100. And then they started this whole fluctuating price thing, which was confusing. And that's basically just for a chance. It's for a chance to get to ride things and to guarantee to be guaranteed to ride something. You have to pay extra.
I mean, you never were guaranteed to ride something before, but you could wait in line. And a lot of these things you still can wait in line. Like Tron, you have to have, I think it's virtual queue still. So it's either virtual queue if you can get it, or you have to pay $20. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, of course, if you go at the beginning of the day or, at the end of the day, you probably can get on. The line won't be as long, and you don't have to pay anything. Rise of Resistance, you can get in line. I think they're testing out a single rider line. They've been doing that. You might be able to get onto that, and it's definitely not worth paying $25 per guest. Guardians, I think it's virtual queue, or you have to pay the price. And Flight of Passage, go at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. It's not worth $16 per guest. It's just not.
No, it's basically an in-app purchase. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you buy the video game. The video game is the Disney theme park simulator, and then you get into the park, and you want to ride something now. You want to ride the good rides. You're gonna have to pay more. And it's just God. It's just this company. What they're doing. I'll tell you what they're doing. They're charging the guests that they have left more because they have to. Because they, again, when you're a public,
attendance is down.
The attendance is down. So the people who are still willing to go, you're going to pay more. And I don't know what's going to happen when Universal opens, because for them to actually compete, they're going to have to spend more money, and they're going to have to lower their prices to pull people away from Universal. It might be a case of like, Disney has to slash its prices just to get people in the door, in the gate, because Universal is going to be so damn appealing. And the only way you're going to appeal to people is be like, yeah, we're going to have to, do a budget cut, sale, whatever, and appeal to the consumers, what are they called? The undesirable mix.
Yeah, the undesirable mix.
We're going to have to appeal to the undesirable mix, the people that don't have as much money per capita, ARPU, or whatever the hell, PCAP, or whatever it is. But they're not worth as much as our whales, but our whales are going to Universal. So they're going to be stuck with the middle class again. I don't know if Disney's ready for that.
I know that the Universal's attendance and stuff was down too, but I think that's because people are waiting till next year, like you mentioned to me before this, that they're waiting till next year just to go to Epic Universe. And they're just going to take like a trip next year. So,
I think so. I think that's what's going on in Universal's case. But yeah, they're hurting now. That's the thing. Disney is hurting now for attendance. This is not going to help them. This is not going to help their stock. And next year it's going to be game over when Universal opens. Everybody, if you can take one trip to Orlando, guess where you're going? You're going to Universal. You're going to spend, and especially now, the way that they're selling the tickets at Universal, that you only get one day in Epic Universe, and you have to buy a multi-day pass.
Yeah, that's not going to go over well.
Yeah, but people are going to go, and they're going to take. And I know I understand why they're doing it, because the demand is going to be through the roof. But Universal is smart, because a lot of people take a Disney trip and they only take a day or two to go to Universal. Well, Universal is going to trap you at Universal for the whole week. Mostly.
Well, 3 days isn't the whole week.
Well, still, but that's a trip. So people would just be like, yeah, let's just stay at Universal.
A lot of people go to both. But yeah, I think, they're not going to Disney World even this year. I think they're waiting for next year to make one trip. So I think that's probably playing into it as well. But the price, the cost keeps going up. And then, the stocks are going down because people are just getting fed up. You're getting tired of being nickel and dimed, and everything keeps increasing when it comes to Disney theme parks.
Oh yeah,
food, souvenirs, tickets. These upcharges after upcharge after upcharge. It just gets really, really old. And yes, it's true that you can pay a lot at Dollywood or Universal or whatever for that express pass, but you can use it across everything that that's authorized for. It's not just you pay it. You'll get 3 rides, or you're going to pay it anyway. If you have to pay for 2 rides, extra attractions on top, but you're going to have the same amount of money. Yeah. So it's just getting out of control. Remember when you used to be able to go to a theme park and just wait in lines, and because they didn't have all these things, the lines moved, and then everybody waited the same turn, didn't matter how much money you had or how much money you could spend. People aren't going. They don't have the money. We don't know what's going to happen with the economy. We don't know what's going to happen with the whole political situation being the way it is. People are afraid to spend the money. So now is probably not a good time to start gouging them higher.
No, and I mean, they're going to have to bring it. And we talked about this before. I don't know
what they're going to do for D23.
D23, they are going to have to make some amazing announcements. But the problem is that it takes Disney 5 years to build a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. So even if they announce a new land, even if they announce Beyond Thunder Mountain, even if they announce a 5th gate, a 5th gate would take Disney 15 years to build.
Well, I noticed when they were announcing the the Disneyland Forward and stuff for California, it was over the course of like 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
So you're going to find that a lot of these things, even the wording of the contract with the new Central Florida Tourism Oversight District with their plans, it's like 15 years. They're going to take their good old sweet time.
You can't take your kids, you can take your grandkids.
Right. But I know, right. But I think, too, it's a fact of, in some levels, I think it's that they have to find people that are actually willing to work for them.
Yeah.
Because they're constantly in lawsuits from people they didn't pay. So there's that, too. But anyway, on a side tangent about Disney World, because it's a funny little story, I was going to throw this in here before we go on to other things. So a few days ago, a week ago, I guess at this point, somebody was swimming in the rivers of America at the Magic Kingdom. Why are you going to the rivers of America at the Magic Kingdom? I have no idea. But apparently they swam from Tom Sawyer Island across to the dock on the other side and then back over. Now, besides we don't know what's in the water.
Right.
There's also, gators in all the waterways. Just assume there's gators in them. Just because you're in Disney World, they don't have magical shields that protect you from gators. They're there. They're most likely there. People spot them all the time. They get them removed. But if you see one, there's more.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And somebody who actually had worked on the railroad said, oh, by that area, we know there's gators over there. So this idiot jumps in the water. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they got banned. But I just thought it was a funny little thing because, here somebody had put it on TikTok.
Oh, my gosh.
He's just like, okay, I'm just going to go for the swim.
Well, you'll get freaking brain-eating parasites. You'll get leeches in your shorts. Have you not seen Stand By Me? I was terrified to swim in creeks for years after that.
So this person just swims in the water. Not a good idea.
You deserve what you get. Like, it's water in Florida. Like, you don't know what's in the water.
Yeah, I like the hashtags. He gone from the parks. He gone from Disney. He not gone from alligators. So, do not do this.
No,
there are rules for a reason.
He's probably doing it. He's probably doing it for social media clout.
I don't know. Don't do it. Besides the fact that you probably get trespassed and it's bad. It's bad because who knows you're going to get sick or something's going to get you. There are for sure gators in the waters at every waterway in Disney. You are not magically protected with the price of your ticket. You have to
pay extra for that.
No, it doesn't matter to pay extra. Gators in every waterway. Just assume if there's water, there's a gator somewhere. Just automatically assume that. That is what it is. Jumping over here, we're going to talk real quick we were talking about the box office. Inside Out 2 has just become the highest grossing animated film of all time worldwide. It went past Frozen 2, 1,462,800,000 through Tuesday, and it's now gone past Frozen 2, which is at $1,454,000,000. So it went past it significantly. And now it's it's a top animated film at the box office worldwide ever.
Wow.
Number one spot they have sitting it was with the 2019 Lion King, but as they pointed out, that wasn't really an animated movie. It was, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
So if you don't count that one, they're number one. If you count that one, still they're number two. But
animation adjacent, I think, is what. Animation adjacent. Like everything was animated, but it all looked too realistic and too dead, and the backgrounds were real. I think. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Okay, and it hasn't released in Japan yet.
Oh, wow.
It won't release in Japan till August 1st. So that's the current international box office has it at $861.8 million, and it hasn't gone to screens in Japan yet.
So the good news is if you're left at Pixar after they laid a bunch of people off, if you're left at Pixar, your job is probably secure because they made plenty of money to justify their existence, because Pixar had failure after failure after failure and Disney animation. But I mean, Inside Out 2, they went back to formula. They went back to what works. Probably angering some of the people that work there, I'm sure. But like when Disney does what it does best and it does what people expect it to do, and Disney properly Disneys, they make money.
I think that's across the board with Hollywood. It's like if you give people what they want and what they expect, they're going to give you their money. We went and see Twisters, which wasn't Disney, but like what you say, it does what it says in the can.
Yeah, there's a British saying it does what it says on the tin, which literally it's Twisters is multiple twisters in the
movie.
movie.
But it was just a fun
twisters.
movie that was kind of like what you'd expect the movie to be, and it gave you what you expected. And it did well, like Inside Out 2. It gave people more Inside Out. It gave them what they expected. It gave them characters they know and love. And it did well. I'm sure Moana 2 is going to do fantastic as long as they do something similar to Inside Out 2. I'm hoping Hollywood learns the lesson, which is please just give people money, movies that they want, and they'll give you their money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
People don't want to be lectured at the films. People were mad, I guess, with Twisters because they weren't putting global warming things in it.
Yeah, they have a global warming message.
And it's like, but look, people don't want to hear it. They want to go to the movies to escape. They don't want more reality shoved in. And I think that's what's working here is you're giving people what they want. And it's working. And they said that it topped $1 billion globally within 19 days, which is the quickest time frame for an animated movie ever to hit $1 billion. Give people what they want.
That's all they got to do.
Give you their mony.
It's the same with the theme parks.
Yes.
It's the same with Marvel. It's now, again, Deadpool and Wolverine probably is going to do very well. I don't know about the rest of the Marvel stuff because Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the movie, is not looking too hot. Fantastic Four, there's been some controversy around the casting. And I think a lot of people just don't have a lot of faith in Marvel, but they are bringing the Russo brothers back. So maybe they're trying to get it together. But yeah, if they could just fix Star Wars and fix Marvel, figure out what to do with the Muppets or sell the Muppets back to Henson or something, and focus on your theme parks for God's sake. You got to innovate again. You cannot give people these half-assed experiences and charge them through the nose for it.
Mm-hmm. So that's that. I mean, so there is some good news for Disney. It's not really helping the stock much, but there is a little bit of good news. We're going to run real quick over to Universal Orlando for Halloween Horror Nights. So the last three things we're going to talk about, and then we're going to wrap this up. So we've had some new announcements for scare zones from Universal Orlando. I have a list of what the houses and scare zones are. We're going to talk about here in a minute. So the ones they announced today, they announced two today so far. And one is the duality of fear. And this one, according to their write-up, is as soon as you enter Halloween Horror Nights, you must choose a path. The visceral horror of sinister or the unearthly terror of surreal.
Okay.
So this is kind of smart on their behalf, too, because you have to take one of the two paths. So it's going to give repeatability. People can choose another path another night. You're going to want to come back, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah, that is actually pretty clever because after you go through all the houses a lot of times, I mean, unless the house is like really, really good, it's like kind of a one and done. Mm-hmm. And some of the houses are really, really good. So.
Some of them houses are really good. Yeah. So this is what they've announced today. They also announced, I didn't even do a story on it yet. Demon Queens get caught. Is this a scare zone or scare zone? Get caught in an otherworldly hellscape ripped by the darkest corners of your mind, where four merciless queens loyal to surreal rule. So this is a surreal one. We'll probably hear something else about the other one then. I was going to mention too that we have the Nightmare Fueled Nocturnal Circus they've announced as well. Yeah. That's another scare zone. It's going to be this Dark Circus, a new nightmare that carries with it sinister curse. It's a thrilling spectacle of pyro and aerialists.
Oh, sounds fun.
That does sound fun. So we also have the Swamp of the Undead that they announced previously for a scare zone, and same with Torture Fair. So those are the 5 scare zones they announced so far. Now, the houses they had, in case you missed, were Slaughter Cinema 2, Goblin's Feast, Major Sweets Candy Factory, the Museum Deadly Exhibits, Monstrous, the Monsters of Latin America, Triplets of Terror, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Quiet Place, and Insidious the Further. So those are what you can expect. Tickets are on sale now. Halloween Horror Nights is going to run from August 30th, November 3rd.
Okay.
I know you wanted to go down, but I don't have time.
I do want to go down. That's actually my favorite thing in all of Orlando right now is Halloween Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm. I know you really like it.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're gonna have time this year to get down there. But we'll see what happens. If not, you can always go to Fandom Fall Fest at Kennywood again.
That was fun. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of other theme parks are starting to do more with Halloween. So I'm into that. Like I mean, this is why I'm so excited about Epic Universe and the Universal Monsters, because to me it's like, oh, this is just like Halloween Horror Nights all year round.
Yeah, and that's what I'm concerned about is Disney won't commit to anything unless it's really toned down and tame, and people are worried because if they would announce some kind of villains themed expansion to either Beyond Thunder Mountain or the Fifth Gate, the rumor is if they would do it, it would be more like topsy-turvy, quirky type thing and not, villains.
Right,
evil.
right.
And people want, the villains evil stuff and they're not giving it. Disney's so worried about offending people that they're just going too tame the whole way around, I think.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to just, Disney doing what it does best. And their best villains were memorable and terrifying to kids. They were legitimately scary. They were a legitimate threat. They actually wanted to kill the heroes in most cases. And now it's just like everybody just wants to like hug it out, and it's boring. It's just very boring. Like Disney needs to go back to just doing what it does best. Don't worry about whether or not a handful of people online are offended by it. Like Halloween Horror Nights is amazing, and it's packed, and it's making. I think it does better, each and every year because people hear about it and they go see it. And I know just last time we went, just comparing the crowds to some previous years, I'm like, yeah, people are there for it.
And it doesn't have to go, of course, as hardcore as Universal does. I mean, they do that as after hours ticketed, but even like the Dark Universe, it doesn't have to go as hardcore as that. But I would at least expect some scary,
I know, right? I
think, like villains, I'm not thinking like
Chernabog, Maleficent, something.
They had Chernabog silhouette in the art, the blue sky concept art, and I'm like, you're gonna put a Chernabog in it, and you're not gonna make it freaky. It's gonna be topsy turvy, quirky. I'm like, no. No. I want Night at Bald Mountain. I don't want Toupee Land. I don't know what to tell you.
Toupee Land?
I don't know what I could think of. Something quirky and unexpected. Anyway, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah. I was just thinking like Chapek versus Iger.
I don't know.
Please subscribe.
Popped out.
Please subscribe to the podcast. Check us out on YouTube now. You're going to be doing some news bites over on YouTube, and we're going to get that going again. We're going to get that machine going again. And we appreciate it, guys. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.